Hello, welcome to this video for Britannia Skies Pilot. I'm Nifty, I'm your Chief Flight Instructor. Today we're going to talk about an instrument approach, an ILS into Blackpool, followed by a missed approach procedure and then a diversion to Liverpool. The automatic pilot is engaged. All navigation is done by GPS, except the approaches which are done by ILS. So we're en route to Blackpool on the autopilot. So I'm setting up the ILS approach for Blackpool, making sure that the minimums are set and that everything looks correct. Now it's time to set up the frequencies. So the primary frequency is going to be the ILS frequency for Blackpool. The secondary, I'm already presetting it to Liverpool. I'm also setting the Wallasey VOR frequency, and of course I need to change the primary flight display. To increase my situational awareness, I want to see the distance to the runway, DME. I want to see where Wallasey is, and I want to see where the Blackpool NDB is. And you can set it to your liking. I prefer this setup because it increases my situational awareness. Just setting up the frequencies now for the NDBs. I'm putting the LPL NDB, that's the Liverpool NDB, on standby. Once I've done that, then we're ready for the approach. Now let me draw your attention to the top of the primary flight display. That's the autopilot situation annunciator. At the moment, it's saying roll, autopilot is engaged, and alt at 3000 feet. Very important. I'll explain later. So here we are on final approach. Note the autopilot situation annunciator. We are on LOC, lock, autopilot engaged with GS, glide slope. So we're fully established on the ILS. We're going down to the minima, and for some reason the runway is blocked. So we're going to have to go around. Most important thing is to stop the descent. So we're going to press Alt and immediately set full power. Once you reach 75 knots, you're going to press flight level change. And what it does, it'll start to climb to 2000 feet at 75 knots because it locks the speed at full power. Once it's in a climb, then we can worry about the lateral navigation. Since we've programmed the missed approach in GPS, we can now select the GPS mode. To do that is to press that button until you see the magenta rows. Now be aware that once you change mode, the autopilot situation annunciator will change. Now have a look. You're now in roll mode, so you have to engage nav mode. This autopilot situation annunciator should now say GPS, autopilot, flight level change, it's locked on to 75 knots, and alt is armed. Now we're going to climb up to 2000 feet and then make a left turn. And this is how it looks like, what it looks like on the navigation screen. So you see that blue banana, and that blue banana is right at the top of the turn because that's a conditional statement. So we're climbing up to 2000 feet. Once we reach it, the aircraft will start turning. I always follow it up with the heading book. Right, it'll start turning soon. Once the turn is finished and we're inbound to the Bravo Papa Lima, we can set up for the diversion. In real life, we would put a hold in to give us more time to set up for the diversion. But in this situation, I think I can do it before I reach the end of the route. So we continue our turn. Now the way to set up a diversion is actually quite simple. There's a very handy button on your navigation display, and I'll show you that now. Right, it's the direct to button, and it's that one at the top left. Now the direct to button, you can navigate to any navigation aid or airport in the world. So we're going to dial up Liverpool, Echo Golf, Golf Papa. And I'm not too concerned about the approach yet because we still have a long way to go there. So I'll just dial up Echo Golf, Golf Papa. Once it's found it, I'll activate it. And see that the screen now changes. The magenta line goes off to the right and the aircraft starts following it. Now we are at 2,000 feet. I think 3,000 feet is a bit safer, so I'll set the altitude to 3,000 feet and slowly start climbing. Once we're en route to Liverpool, we can actually put the arrival in there. I'm planning on the ILS for runway 27, and in this case I've planned the procedural ILS. That's in case there is no ATC and radar vectors. So let's go ahead and do that then. So first the frequencies. See, I've put the Liverpool ILS already active, and Wallisey is still there. For situational awareness, I just need to change over the NDB, and that's set now. As you can see, the arrow is pointing the right way. Now we're going to set up the approach in the navigation display. So, as you can see, we're going to approach Liverpool from the north. There's that red line. Now, to configure the approach, we'll just use the proc button, the procedure button, and then toggle to select approach. We want to select the ILS from runway 27, so we'll toggle to that and then enter. And we're going to use the LPL initial approach fix. So we enter that. Now the minimums have to be changed to 280 for Liverpool. So we'll say set that. And then we're going to check the routing there, which seems alright. So I'll activate it. It gives you a warning that you cannot use GPS with altitude, but that's fine because we're on the ILS. So we're just checking the VNAV profile, which looks okay. We're now at 3,000 feet. We're going to descend to 2,000 feet once we reach the LPL, VOR, NDB, sorry. And that's it. It's all done. So GPS is set up. The frequencies are set up. We're ready for the approach in Liverpool. So, forward in time. We're now approaching the LPL NDB. We can already preset 2,500. And as you can see, VNAV, vertical navigation, will start descending when it needs to descend. So make sure that you are ready with your power settings, because otherwise the speed will run away from you. Now we're right up there approaching the LPL NDB, and we're going to make a left turn for the outbound leg for the ILS. Now once we're on the outbound leg, we are cleared to descend to 2,000 feet according to the procedure. So again, I'm backing it up with my heading book, and once we're outbound, I'll set 2,000 feet and let VNAV descend us to 2,000. Okay, I've changed our view a bit so we can see both the primary flight display and the navigation display. Now have a look at your autopilot situation annunciator. Can you see that it says GPS, autopilot, alt, and it says something like a VPTH, which means that if you set the right altitude, it'll automatically start to descend to 2,000. Can you see that magenta caret coming down? It's now following the VNAV down to 2,000. Now I'm going to fast forward and then make a right turn inbound to the ILS. Once we made that turn, we don't need GPS anymore. So what I'll do is once we made a turn, now notice the ASA, it says alt. So you're now level at 2000. Once it's completed the turn, I'll engage heading select. So also have a look at how the autopilot situation annunciator changes. Once we completed the turn, we don't need GPS anymore. So I can change mode to the ILS mode after I've engaged heading. Now I'll engage heading select, there you go, and now I can change modes. So I've changed modes to ILS, and then I can arm the approach by pressing nav. Notice the ASA, change it to lock in white, and glide slope on the other side, on the right hand side, GS in white. So now it's armed. Once the localizer comes in, you see that lock gets active and it starts to turn towards the ILS. You'll also see the glide slope is above our altitude, which is good. It'll slowly come down. I'll fast forward to the point where it intercepts, then you'll see the GS in white on the right side of the ASA, and it'll activate. It'll become green. There you go. That's it. And now we start descending. Make sure you adjust your power settings. We're gonna descend at this speed, and the first stage of flap to about 1000 feet. Once we reach 1000 feet, we're gonna configure for the landing. Okay, so now we're passing 1000 feet, so we'll start to slow down and select the full stage of flaps. Our final landing speed will be about 65 knots, so we'll adjust the power to maintain 65 knots. And it's time to have a look out the window. I can already see the ground, that's a good sign. Now we're down to minimast, and you can see the runway inside. You can see the approach lights coming. So this is a good time to disengage the autopilot. Let's have a look at the autopilot situation annunciator. That's what it looks like when the autopilot is disengaged. And now it's just on to the aiming point for the runway. Making sure you got 2 reds, 2 whites, and land in the landing zone. Well, if you have any questions about this whole procedure, I understand it's going in fast succession, so if you want me to go over it at a little slower pace, just let me know and we can maybe do a session together. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I'm looking forward to see you again on my next video. Thank you very much, and until next time.